Welcome back to Under Oath. I'm your host, Jeff Kaufman. I have the privilege of interviewing Jawad Yatim. You might not know that name, but you should. He's the owner of our indoor football league, our new team, the Pirates.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Thank you for bringing it to us. We've been dying for it.
No, I hear you, and we're certainly glad to be here. I always told myself, hey, if that Orlando market ever opened up, we would pounce on it, and we did, and we're happy to be here, and it's been a good start so far, and obviously a lot to build on, but we're working towards that, and we're excited for the future.
They just came from Massachusetts, and the weird thing about it was they had like 3 months to get everything together. The amount of therapy you must need trying to set everything up in 3 months before the first game. I think the contract was signed in December?
The end of November. Yeah, we announced we had a press conference November 18th at the Kia Center to announce our arrival here, and then from there it was all systems go. We were sprinting, just putting everything together, and yeah, but piece by piece, right? It's a funny story, but I mean the Pirates were pretty much started out of the Istanbul Lounge on International, and also the Citrus Club. Those were the two places that I spent the majority of my time. So
now here's the thing: as an owner of the team, you've got players. I used to be an NFL agent. I was an NBA agent. Players are tough. You have all these alpha males. You got alpha male coaches. You got alpha male assistants. You got alpha male players, and you've got to make all that work. I mean, I can't imagine how long it took you to figure out how to manage and be able to get these people to be excellent.
Yeah, and I mean, it's, you learn over the years. I mean, I've been doing this since I was, 28 years old. So, just knowing how to run a room, manage a room, read a room, that's obviously important. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of testosterone in the building, and, it can get emotional. Obviously you try to, constrain that and then direct it in the right place. But yeah, I mean, but that's just sports. I think everybody in my position is going through that. And I've learned to, kind of deal with it, while also being myself, and staying myself. And that's important too for me.
How tough is that? I mean, come on, that's, there are times that you want to go.
Yeah, it's
you can't.
There is an aspect of the job, that is somewhat robotic, but then, I always like to, it gets tiring trying to be somebody else, or try and fake something, so, as long as I'm myself and stay within the guidelines of what's correct, or what's appropriate in terms of being able to do your job at a high level, that's what I try to do. And, it's worked for me over the years. Obviously there's been, some tough moments, there's been great moments, but it's you take the good with the bad, and then you just keep swinging, and keep going. So
now, one of the hardest things I have, a lot of people don't know about this, about indoor football, is that the better the player is, the more likely he can be poached by the Canadian League, by other leagues, because there's nothing keeping them from leaving. In like the next game, they could be gone.
Yeah. I mean, for years, man, we've been dealing with that. I mean, even this year, we landed in New Mexico. As soon as we get off the flight, our starting quarterback's gone. He's on his way to Houston. We had the top kick returner in the league. He's in Canada now. Two of our important defensive backs. In our secondary that they got picked up by the UFL. An offensive lineman of the CFL. Another DB. And so on and so on and so on. But it trains you to be really good at your job, because we don't have another minor league team sending someone down. It's on me to make sure our short list or where they need to be, make sure we have guys ready to hop on a flight when they need to, and then having the coaching staff that can get these guys prepared on a short notice to be able to go out there and in 2-3 days time and be effective for us. So even this past game we started 3 new players, and they only had about 3 or 4 practices under their belt. Oof. So they did a good job getting acclimated. Our coaches did a good job getting them up to speed, and we did enough to win.
It's a business, and it's hard, and the goal is I have to be profitable. I got to get butts in the seats, getting people to come to these games, because now you have to be your own Barnum and Bailey. You're the guy who's got to convince these guys to come in. You got to get your marketing team. You got to do all these things. You've been here 4 months, and you're going, God, it's hard enough to keep a team on the field. Much less now. I got to pack the stadium. I got to do these. You have a good product. What do you do to let a city know, hey, we're here. This is a good product. We care about you. This is going to be fun.
Yeah, I mean, you try and be as aggressive as you can, with different campaigns and different, directions of marketing, whether it's digital, whether it's physical signage, whether it's partnerships, whether it's getting out in the community. I mean, you just try and be as aggressive as you can. I mean, I'd say the one thing that I wish I had more of was time, but you can't
Yeah.
buy that, unfortunately. But time continues to pass, and then, we're going to be here. We're here in Orlando. We're excited to be here. We understand it's a process, but the main reason we're here is because, the one thing that you can't buy, especially in sports is history, is
Yep.
moments, previous knowledge of the product. I've had so much fewer conversations down here of, explaining to people what arena football is.
Yep.
Back in Massachusetts in our initial market, it was a lot about, hey, we're the Pirates, cool. What do you do? We play arena football. What is that? That
Yep.
was a lot of what is that? It was a lot of educating that we had to do down here. Say arena football. Oh yeah, I know about that. Yeah,
You had a good fan base in Massachusetts. You had great fans,
yeah, passionate,
and
very
that
passionate.
I can't imagine that feeling when you go, okay, we're moving. How do you let the city know on something like that? Because I know it must have been devastating for you because you had relationships. I mean, you're a huge fan, of the area. That must have been so difficult for you, man.
I appreciate that question. It's actually been the first time I've been asked that since I've been down here, and I mean, it's. We got a lot of history back there. We won a championship. We went to two. We had 6 straight playoff appearances to start off our, franchise. A lot of nice moments. That's where I was born and raised. So, we want to keep that history with us. We want to, remember it, honor it, appreciate it. But at the same time, we are thrilled to be down here. And I'm starting to feel like this is starting to become a little more, like home for me
Yeah.
personally on a personal level. But yeah, I mean, it's not easy. We weren't able to do anything during the season, during our last season there. It's not like I could have addressed the crowd
Right.
or really let them know that. I mean, we made a video, I put out a message that, was authentic, and I really just thanked everybody. I mean, there were so many people that, we certainly appreciated from our time there. I guess a neat part of going back up to New York for 10 days to play 2 games is that, you are a little closer to home. I think we'll see some of those old Massachusetts fans, come out to the game. But yeah, we appreciate it. We honor it. We even got the key to our city, back there, for winning the championship. But, like I said, this is starting to feel a little more like home now. And I'm starting to appreciate the people, more. I wouldn't say appreciate them, but I would start to, appreciate more of the connections that I have
You
down
get to know
here.
them.
Yeah, you got to
Yeah.
build relationships. I mean, it takes time, real relationships, not just shaking someone's hand and saying thank you, but actually feeling it along with that, So I'm starting to feel a little more ingrained in Orlando, and I like it.
Now, about 2, 3 months ago, um, I had some friends of mine who I hadn't seen in a long time, and they somehow included me on this link saying, "Hey, we're going to get tickets to the Orlando Pirates." I'm like, "What the hell is that?" And they're going, "Yeah, it's our new," and they called it arena foot. It's our arena football team, and it's indoor football league. But I mean, I was like going, "We got a new team," and that day I said, "You know what? I love this game. I loved everything about it. I love the energy it had." And I sent an email out to you that night when I got those tickets. And the next morning, you emailed me back and said, "How would you feel about doing this?" And you've included me in so much. I've got to meet the team. I've got to be in the locker before the game, after the game. And just so you know, I'm going to tell something. We won the last game, okay? Last second of the game. Catch catches the ball in the end zone, goes over the wall. We still take the win, okay? Everyone's back in the locker room. Jawad, you could tell he has gone through every emotion possible through this game. And he's like, "Hey, you guys, you're good? Yeah, we got a lot to work on." I could tell he was like going, I I am overwhelmed at this moment with everything I'm dealing with, but I want you guys to know how great you are, but we have a lot of work to do." And that is something you can't buy those moments. You can't even try to explain to people what that's like.
No, and that's I mean that's the beauty of it. It's the business is always, you're working to get it to where you want to be, but you do it for reasons like you just described, right? Like, just having those moments of being able to address the team after a big win, but also going through all the emotions in a game, feeling kind of exhausted a little bit, and just want to recognize the guys that we felt deserved that recognition, and also recognize the things that we didn't do really well. But it's always better to learn after a win. But yeah, man, some of those moments in the locker room. I mean, that's what you don't forget. Those trips, on the bus or on a flight, in the airport. Just a little moments with guys that and I think when you hear all these NFL players when they retire, I mean, that's what they talk about the most, right? It might not necessarily be in the game. It's everything that surrounds it. But yeah, I mean, those moments are cool. It's great to have you there, by the way. I mean, I absolutely love it. It's nice to feel like you're part of the team. And that's important for us because you are. You really are a part of the team. Most definitely. Play a large role in our success and how we operate and everything like that. So, we appreciate it as well, and it's good to have our partners right there with us.
You guys allow me to do something which is very special. I get to promote a lot of autism awareness through our advertising with the Pirates. It's huge because at least I would say 10, 20 times a game, somebody comes up to me and says, hey, my son's on the. You had players who came up to me at the end of the game and said, hey, you had an injured player who came up to me. He goes, my brother is on the spectrum, and I appreciate what you guys are doing. This is a community team. This is our team. And though everyone who's gone to one of these games has said the same thing afterwards, that was fun.
Yeah.
That it wasn't a corporate thing. Yeah. It was, this is our thing. And that's what I love about what the Pirates are doing. And I love, at the end of the game, they come out and sign. They sign everything. They're meeting kids. There are lines of these players sitting down. And these players are hurt. They're tired. But they're going out there and doing what they need to do to let the community know that they matter. And there's a cute thing you guys do. I didn't realize this was the thing. If a football goes out of bounds, a lot of times you got to keep it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And this ball bounced out. And it bounced in front of me, and a buddy next to me, Matt, picked it up, and there was a guy in front of us with his child. I said, just give it to him, trust me. And I gave it to him, and this is what kind of community we have. Matt gave him the ball. He looked over, he was right about to give it to his son. And he looked over at Jacob, who was sitting next to me. My son's on the spectrum. And he goes, no, this is Jacob's ball. He doesn't know us. Had no idea who I was, other than he saw Jacob on the Jumbotron, everything. Hands Jacob the ball. Jacob turns around, holds the ball above his head. The place goes crazy. And I can't give my child a moment like that. Yep. And that's something that you have here that you can do so much with. The power, the changes you can make, the people. It was Cancer Awareness Month. So there was somebody out on the field for that. There's just so much that a team like this, and when you have the kind of management you have, you can embrace all of this. It's hard, though, because it has to be choreographed and there's a lot of moving parts, but you guys kill yourself to get that done.
We do our best. And it's I mean, I think you hit it on the head. It's a very intimate product, and you really do get to interact with the team. That's important for us. We want, obviously the team to interact with the community and the people within the community. But, the little moments I think are more accessible at a game like ours, like you mentioned, as opposed to maybe a major league, product, but we have maybe a little bit more flexibility in terms of how accessible we can make ourselves, maybe with just some of the labor laws and different regulations that, these leagues have with their personnel and players. So, but for us, I mean, we understand the importance of providing those type of moments for the community, because that's how, you get people back in the building, and that's how you get people to buy into the product and buy into your team. And we need the fans, we need it. The players need the energy on game day. We want to go out there and run out to a field, and look up in the stands and see a bunch of people supporting the team. And the big moments have yet to come. We haven't gone to the end of the season yet. We haven't gotten to those playoff games. We haven't gotten to the game that's going to clinch a playoff berth for us, and having those people in the building at those times is going to be really important for us. So, but at the end of the day, I mean, that's one of the best things about doing this, is not just going out and trying to win a ball game, but being able to provide those moments, having a platform where you could actually do that, is pretty neat.
I got to meet your dad. Your dad came up to me and he goes, hey, I want to thank you for helping sponsor. I own part of the team. I just want to say that thank you for doing it. I appreciate what you're doing. And I said to him, I got to tell you, your son's amazing.
Oh, thank you.
I said,
Thank you.
I said, I don't know how many people ever get to tell you that or something else like that. I said, but what he's done in such a short period of time requires a stupid amount of hours, a stupid amount of temperament that you must have inside to go, okay, get your ass out of bed. It's another day.
Yeah.
I got another 18, 24 hours I
A
got
lot
to
of
knock
yoga.
out.
A
A
lot of
lot of
yoga.
yoga.
A lot of
Now,
yoga.
fathers like to give advice. You know, my dad loved to give advice. I try to not do that with my daughter because it's tough. You know, what do you think some of the best advice your dad ever gave you was?
I wouldn't say it's verbal. I would say it's more example, by action, just, he's still getting after it, he came from one of the poorest countries in the world, Sierra Leone, and then he came over to the U.S. when they were having their civil war, along with my uncles. And, between all of them, they became very successful businessmen up in the Massachusetts and New England area. And, but it wasn't by coincidence. It wasn't by luck. It just every single day, getting up, going to work, getting up, going to work. I really wouldn't, there'd be weeks where I didn't even see him, because he'd be gone by the time I wake up, and by the time he got home, I might not have, I might have been out, or whatever. But, it's just, man, the level of hard work that I witnessed over years just rubbed off on me. How could I not work hard, when you see it every single day, and just, not never missing a beat, never wanting to take a day off. I mean, that's, but I mean, to witness that, it just rubbed off on me. He never sat me down and told me I had to work hard. He just showed me. And I just witnessed that. And it just became ingrained in me. And I wouldn't feel like I wouldn't have much self-respect for myself if I wasn't able to kind of, try and emulate the same things or try and be the same person and try and really chase what I'm trying to chase. So yeah, it's maybe not as much verbal, but more action and more just paying attention to the amount of sacrifice, he made and the level of effort he put into providing for us and being the best person he can be.
When you wake up in the morning, when you meet people, when you know this is who you are, what inside do you go, wow, that's amazing. I can't believe I get to do this.
It's I I really have to remind myself sometimes to do that, like every once in a while, because the day is just filled with so much, and even though I'm one of the owners of the team, I still do a lot of duties that might not be ownerish, so at times I feel like I'm just like anybody else, because I'm there taking trash out, I'm there going over game day programs and trying to find a quarterback 1 minute and buying laptops for the sales team the next minute and reorganizing furniture and going over paint for the walls and ordering jerseys and all that. It's I do a lot of the day to day. So, but I think I need to do that more often because I really haven't. I don't want it to be too late for me to actually appreciate what I'm doing. I don't want it to be too far down the road where I look back and I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. I appreciate you bringing that up because I really feel like I don't do it enough to really actually appreciate the opportunity in the moment, that I'm currently in. It's always about getting better, improving. What can we do more of? Just always trying to grow and focus on what's next as opposed to like what I'm actually doing now. So, it is neat. I do appreciate it. I try and appreciate it. But yeah, I mean, I just absorb a lot, each day that I just try and get through what I'm absorbing. And then, if there is time at the end of the day, then maybe I get to think about how cool it is. But not yet. Hopefully we can, bring a championship here to Orlando this year, and that parade that'll go down Church Street, that'll be a moment where we can sit back and say, what, this is pretty cool. We enjoy that. So hopefully we can get a key to the city as well. We bring a championship here, but yeah, man, I look forward to maybe being able to do that a little more than I do now.
Well, we'll talk to the mayor about that later.
Yeah. Hey,
Let me just say, hey, thank you for bringing this gift to us, to the city.
Oh, yeah.
The effect of sports on kids and adults to be able to escape a life and to support something and feel like they're actually part of something bigger than themselves is amazing. So thank you for doing that.
No, hey, this is for Orlando by Orlando. I I didn't bring anybody here from Massachusetts. You know, I left them back in Mass. So, you know, these are all individuals that live here or from here, you know, and you know, this is really for the city, you know, and we haven't scratched the surface. We haven't scratched the surface yet. And, you know, I look forward to what's, you know, ahead of us in the future.
It's been a lot of fun. If you want tickets, go to OrlandoPirates.com. When's the next home game?
June 6th, we have
June 6th.
Orlando Youth Night. So we're honoring all the youth in the city, you know, trying to get as many kids as we can in the building. We're playing the Iowa Barnstormers. We're coming back from a long road trip. So, you know, hope to see all of you in the Kia Center and, you know, hopefully pick up another win here at home. You know, and maybe we can go undefeated at home this year and you know, make sure that Orlando never sees a loss. So, you know, it's certainly a goal.
All right. Well, I support that. Hey, good seeing you.